Christian community through the Kenya Christian Professionals Forum.
Yes.
On 31st of October 2017, together I was supporting the NCCK at that time. There is a public statement that they issued that, if you remember the tear gas Monday, where there was a lot of IEBC must go, and until IEBC went, the church at that time, and this is something that I would want to say, that credit has not been given to where credit is due, made a statement and said, if there is one formation of the political group that is saying we have no confidence in the electoral body, however legally constituted they are, the truth of the matter is that that commission needs to go for the betterment of the country. That commission went, but the problem was not fully solved. Because at that time, there was a conversation that the country needed to have before going to the 2017 election. Yes. Now, the president and the former prime minister did not undertake that. Yes. So we went to an election knowing very clearly that what we are seeking to solve, an election will not solve.
So there was something underlying.
Yes.
Before the election, there were some things that had not been quite settled.
And actually, I was coming to it. I wanted to give credit to the church because they did not get credit.
They raised the issue, but they did not get the credit for it.
One of the recommendations that NCCK at that time made was that expand the executive. Because the current executive under the 2010 constitution provides what you call a Ferrari framework.
Yes.
Where you have one driver, and even the place for a co-driver is very limited.
A Ferrari. For those of you watching, a Ferrari is one of those fancy cars, usually a two-seater.
Yes,
a two-seater. Is it? Are you thinking about it?
I'm talking about this two-seater one. But what the idea is that under the Formula One, where you only have one driver at the core, and remember, our politics is canvassed on an ethnic perspective. So the truth of the matter is that when one person gets up there, what happens? These other ones do not have opportunities. So there was a recommendation: expand the executive and dignify the opposition, facilitate the opposition to do its work.
Yes.
Now, what happens amazingly with the pride of politicians?
Yes.
When they are not the originators of an idea.
When they are not the ones, pushing the conversation, they will ignore sound advice.
Now, I thank you, Pastor Gigi. If there are people who are doing sound bites, what you've just said is a powerful sound bite, because you will see the impact, for example, of what you've just said. If we come to the BBI, so then come 2017, we go to an election. It was not conclusive. One part, the opposition boycotted the election, and then therefore there was a ground for a discussion to be happened. So the handshake that happened on the March 9th of 2018 was a culmination of many things to say, hey, ladies and gentlemen, even if you have an election, Raila Odinga, even if you're elected president, there is one section of the country that does not feel part of you. And then the same
called the 44%, but something that every poll before elections normally will produce a number for ODM or Raila associated parties, usually around 44%.
And
that number doesn't seem to change, by the way.
And you see, the truth of the matter, you cannot ignore that group.
Yes.
Now, what happened therefore was then, even if you go to an election, the issues that the country needs to confront, an election will not resolve.
Exactly.
So then, of course, 118 of the book of Isaiah, come, let's reason together. So there was reasoning. And then the handshake came up with a 9-point agenda. That we need to seek answers to the following 9 issues.
Exactly.
Interestingly, Pastor Gigi, most of those things that we are going to seek answers for, we already have the answers written in different documents. I will elaborate all of them as we move ahead.
Absolutely. So, viewers, as you can tell, this BBI is a manifestation of a much, much bigger problem than, sometimes we kind of, the conversation gets lost in the noise of politics. So I like the way you are unpacking this and basically saying that even the elements, the 9 key point agendas on the BBI are already issues that have been discussed from various angles and are sitting in various documents.
Yes. So all that was needed is really a synth, and you will see all this. And the beauty of this kind of a conversation, where I like the way you said you bold, big, and honest conversation.
Conversation.
Honest conversation.
Yes.
So then with the handshake, a task force was put in place that go to the country, give us answers on the following issues. Number 1 was the issue of divisive election. Number 2 was the issue of corruption. There's the issue of shared prosperity. There's the issue of corruption. There is the issue of inclusion. There is also the issue of devolution. Then you also have our cross-cutting issues,
integrity issues, and all that.
So the task force did their report, and then the first report was what was launched therefore last year in November 26th, if you remember, in Bomas.
Yes.
Then after the launch of the report, they were told go back, and their term was extended. They went round for what we call a validation session. So what was launched on during Mashujaa Day in Kisii, that day after Mashujaa Day, was the second report based on what they have gone back to ask people. Did you told us this? Have we captured it? Now, of course, in the political environment, the issues that are juicy from BBI is number 1. The expansion of the executive, which means the introduction of the position of the Prime Minister, 2 deputies, and then the other thing is also the issue of leader of official opposition now recognized and saying that if you're the number 2 in a presidential election, you go to parliament and you become the leader of official opposition, facilitated. The very thing, Pastor Gigi, that the church said in 2017.
Let's avoid the Ferrari.
Let's have
there's something you use.
Our politics is such that we have a leadership that provides for the Ferrari framework in terms of 1 person and his deputy, and then we have but the Kenyan political system is the pro box approach. Inside a pro box, you have the driver, and then you have the seat for the what is it, the co-driver.
You have a driver, co-driver,
and then you can also have 3 more people at the back. And then there is a lot of space also
at the boot.
At the boot.
You can
let me take you all this. So they say we have the president, the deputy president, the prime minister, 2 deputies, and then the other thing that the politicians are very happy is that we have reversed the appointments of cabinet secretaries, whom we now call cabinet ministers. So ministers will now be members of the National Assembly.
And they can go into the boot of the pro box.
Are you saying? So that is the exciting news in town. When you talk to politicians, they are saying, this is what we have been waiting for. Here we have it. And that's why BBI is popular on the political front. They are not opposing it, because somebody like, I like this conversation because we are bold. Somebody like William Ruto, for example. He, out of BBI, he is assured of one thing, that if he aims at the sun, which is going for the president, if in the event he misses it, he will land in the moon, either become a prime minister or a leader of official opposition. What does that mean? He will still be in the game. You see, the current framework that we have is such that, Gigi, if you run for presidency and you miss, you go home, you and your wife.
I'm telling you, Vincent, I think one of the biggest, kind of very painful, thing that is always thrown at candidates, especially when they don't make it to number 1, is we keep telling them, we're going to send you back to P.O. Box something. You know, and usually,
Mushadha,
you know, PO Box Ishaweri,
yes.
PO Box Bondo,
yes.
PO Box
Sugoi.
Sugoi, and places like that. So, and that's very frightening for someone who has built a career in politics, because I mean, you're telling them that as soon as this election is done, if you don't make it number one, we're sending you home, we'll finish you up. I mean, really, that's really not...
And that, there is a Swahili saying that unaponoa panga usinoe kukuwe na makali zaidi, because it might actually turn against you.
Absolutely.
You will realize one thing. In 2013, the people in 2010, when we had the referendum that gave us the current constitution, there was the no side and there was the yes side.
Yes.
Interestingly, the people who pushed for no, either overtly or covertly, is that they were the major beneficiaries come 2013 elections. And then what happened? The very people who expected that they will get into power, they did not get into. So that's why one of the reasons why I'm saying that on the political front, why there are good ideas in BBI, and I want to say it, is that this idea of inclusion, the truth of the matter is that everybody wants to feel that the cover of government is we are part of government, and it is either not at times the real that Gigi has been appointed, but when somebody in our village is in a key government position, there is a feeling that we are part of this government. So for me, I would recommend that I was advising church leaders when they were issuing their statement that on matters of principle, be firm as a rock.
Yes.
On matters of preference, be flexible.
Yes.
So in terms of the Prime Minister, 2 deputies, leader of official opposition, these things are not new. All the drafts that we had in terms of the harmonized draft, Boma's draft, we had these positions and recommendations. They are preferential issues.
They are preferential issues. They are not
necessarily principal issues.
Yeah, they are not principal issues.
Yes.
They are not issues that can, you know, either way, whichever way it goes.
We can live with them.
We can live with it.
Yes.
We can live with a president and a deputy president and the prime minister and 2 deputy.
And the other thing, Bwana Gigi, is that there is also a very good opportunity. One of the credits that I give to the former president Moi is that he was a good mentor. Most of the political leaders that you have currently are products of Moi High School. In terms of he mentored them. The very few of the ones who are leading limelight can be able to tell you that I was not part of Moi. Now, why is it that it is important we support certain ideas? For example, the idea of having ministers coming from the National Assembly. Do you know what happens? Is that you give people opportunities to grow in terms of their careers. So that we see so and so has managed a ministry very well. First of all, he's an elected member of parliament. He has managed the ministry very well. You are able to give them opportunities to rise to a higher level. So you need a political system that mentors the next generation of leaders. The governors that we have, 47 governors, today, Pastor Gigi, you are able to say in 10 years, who is it that has run a county government so effectively that we can entrust them with a national responsibility.
That's true.
So for me, one of the things that I am happy about is that we have been able to then get a system that politically, instead of a situation like in 2013 where Raila and Kalonzo, number 2 in the presidential election, yet they were leading their troops from outside parliament. So if you have a framework whereby they will be able to move with their troops to parliament and play the role of opposition effectively, what happens? You enrich our governance system, because there will be a government in waiting doing what? Showing that the government in power, this is what they are proposing. For us, if we were in government, this is what we would have done. What happens? The salad becomes richer. You know, if you're taking a salad of only maybe like if you have more variety within the salad, then the ability to be a better to enjoy more is better. So for me, that's one thing that I like about BBI. The other thing I'd want to say this is that there are also shortcomings and gaps in this report on governance. For example,
So I like, let's summarize what you're saying.
Yes.
So what you're saying is that, first of all, we've said that BBI itself became necessary
Yes.
as a ceasefire arrangement.
Yes.
And that calmed the waters.
Yes.
And that at least you could stabilize the ship of the nation.
Yes.
So that, people can continue to function. But we know that our problems, some of the shortcomings of our political system were still dogging us in the background, and they were still very loud. The voices of dissent were still very loud.
In 2000, and they normally say, there's a Spanish poet who made a statement, I've forgotten his name, that those who do not study history are hell-bent to repeat it.
Absolutely.
If you don't...
it's very difficult, actually,
yes,
to take the lessons of history.
Yes.
It's like, I think, well, I've been actually puzzling over that issue of why people tend to repeat history. And one of the closest metaphor to why people tend to repeat history is the idea of you try to tell a child not to touch a hot stove. But and until a child touches a hot stove, all the theories and all the sermons on hot stoves are not good. Don't seem to make sense until the child touches the stove.
I have to say this, Pastor Gigi, and I will say this. I know we are a big part of our majority of our audience are Christians, but I want to say certain things that may at times we are not comfortable to say. In 2005, we had a referendum.
Yes.
You remember the 2005 referendum?
Yeah, exactly.
When the NAC government came into power, Kenyans were voted as the most optimistic people globally.
Yes.
Because, we had just seen that it's possible to remove a government and actually have a new government. But when they started fighting over the MOU, that is LDP-NAK, fortunately, at that time, we had a report from the Africa Peer Review Mechanism.
Yes.
And do you know they advised the then President Kibaki do not take the country to a referendum?
Exactly.
Amazingly, the politicians who were around him, some of them told him, this is your time to prove your strength and to show that you are popular. And unlike Raila at that time, we went to a referendum. You remember the orange vis-a-vis just allow me to say the orange and the banana.
Yes, exactly.
And the seed of division
Yes.
was sowed in 2005 of 42 against 1.
Yes.
42 other tribes in Kenya against the Kikuyu community.
Yes.
And you know what happens? We harvested very well,
Yeah.
unfortunately, in 2007. Now, why am I saying this?
Yes.
The current president, that is President Kenyatta, he is is on his second term.
Yes.
It is to his best interest to ensure that enough consensus is built.
Yes.
Before we go to a referendum. Why am I saying this?
So that then we do not sow
another seed of 2005.
Yeah.
Because if I can
we do not harvest a 2007, 2008.
In 2022, where we will have another election.
Yes.
And that's why I said I am thankful for the opportunity. Let me go down in history as having said it on a public platform like this, that what we saw in 2005 of 42 against one tribe.
Yeah.
And the theater to prove that was in 2005 referendum. And then the expectation was that with the win of the no come in 2005, that they were going to win the presidency in 2007.
Yes.
So what happened? The truth of the matter is that 2007 election, there were other issues that came up. One of them was the issue of the IEBC at that time, that the then opposition said we do not have confidence on the IEBC because some of the commissioners, including the commissioner that was appointed by the Democratic Party of Kenya, I think he was called Mrutu, was the deputy to Kivuitu. Why am I saying this? There are recommendations in the current BBI report that touches on the Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission that recommends that the political parties nominate 4 commissioners to the IEBC.
Yes.
Now imagine we also had a report from the Kriegler Commission that told us that if you want to have a good election, ensure that your commissioners are there at the IEBC at least 2 years before the election. What does the BBI report say? The BBI report says that the current commissioners will be vetted afresh, including all the IEBC employees to ascertain their suitability. Now, we are now in November of 2020, meaning that we only have a month, and next year in Christmas. When will this work happen? If BBI goes, it will happen in 2021. Now, when will we have new commissioners? We'll have new commissioners in 2020, possibly with advertisement towards June or September of 2021.
We're basically running out of time.
Will we have time? And then also, what happens when you say that all the employees of IEBC will only serve on a contract of 3 years and then renewable once? There is something that comes with the comfort of security of tenure when you're working in a certain place. So for me, I will say on the political front, I would appeal to the president that, Your Excellency the President, this is the time to build enough consensus on this document. Actually, so far, across the board, there is no one who is saying they have a problem with BBI. The problem they're raising are only on the substance within the document.
Absolutely.
So for me,
we'll come to that. We'll come to that. We'll come to the substance of the some of the mechanisms, the processes. Because I think. I think we could say that a lot of people are agreed that the document as it is and the proposed elements and the amendments, by and large, speak to the needs, to the political consensus there is so far. So I think the issue now is the process through which this whole report will be implemented to avoid, like what you are mentioning, sowing seeds of discord that will create an environment where 2022 becomes another...
It's a we versus them.
A we versus them that will just defranchise, the electorate, defranchise leaders of various kinds, and then you create an atmosphere where people are so agitated that instead of now achieving the objective of building bridges, actually you create an environment of burning bridges.
It's called,
or whatever bridges will have built.
Instead of BBI, it becomes BBI, Destroying Bridges Initiative. Because I remember one of the things that we have to do is we need to ask ourselves, as experts, Gigi, one of the things that we have to do is that we have to be objective enough to be able to say what good is available in this document. And I think, for example, I've given that on the political front. We
are going to come to that. We're going to come to an analysis of what is good within the report.
No, this is something I wanted to say about destroying bridges.
Then we come to a break. Okay. We are going into a break.
Thanks.
So, ladies and gentlemen, I believe that you must be enjoying, the discussion as we're taking it through. Vincent is on fire here, and he has wonderful insights on the BBI. And so we're going to go into a break. And then when we come back, we're going to explore further some of the wonderful issues and the ideas that we think are very transformative and positive for taking our nation forward. And we believe that you're learning something, and you don't want to be ignorant on issues that really touch on your very peace and the moving forward of the nation. So I believe that you're learning something. So we go into a break. When we come back, we continue from there. Thank you very much.
Hello, people of God. My name is John Sego, the apostle of New International Church in Switzerland. Hey, I want to encourage you to keep watching Elevate Television, because this is the television of the time and this is the television of the season. I believe that the vision that God has given to his servant, Apostle David Juma, I believe that that vision is from heaven. And this television is designed to bring us closer to God and closer to the mandate of heaven. I personally am looking forward to come on board and start preaching the gospel on the same television. So you don't want to miss it. We bless this great television and we declare it's going to reach the nations of the world. Don't forget, anytime you log on, you are connecting with the right people, doing the right thing, and with the right God. God bless you.
Welcome back to the Gigi Report, and thank you for tuning in. And we are continuing with the conversation on unpacking the BBI report. And my guest Vincent here has a lot of interesting insights. And so Vincent, I want us to like look at the pros and the cons. I know we have looked at the preferences, especially the political, the leadership elements, where clearly what the main conversation is about the top leadership. There has been a lot of talk about that. And it's a preference issue. That's what we said before we went to the break, that it's really not, we can't, it can't break any bone whichever way we go. But now the BBI itself as a constitutional amendment framework means that if it's passed, it's going to have very serious repercussions and implications because it's a constitutional amending document. So what are the pros and cons of that are embedded in this report?
You know, I want to repeat this, that in 2010, we went to the election, we went to a referendum.
Yes.
And we had one side that was saying yes.
Yes.
In Swahili, they were saying, you would say, Bora Katiba. And then there was one group that was saying no, it says Katiba Bora. And when you listened, you had a 67, 68 to 68, 30 something percent saying yes and no.
Okay.
Now that group that said no were raising 32%. Their concerns were dogmatic in terms of they were based on their beliefs and their conviction.
Exactly.
I was asking one of them about, for example, their opposition to a constitution on the issue of why are you saying no to this great constitution that has very good provision on governance, devolution? And he said, you know, for me, on matters of principle, even if when I am faced with a decision of principal issues and preference, like I vote, it says I vote no because of the provision on 26(4) that provides, for example, that says abortion is not permitted and opens door, for example, when the mother's life is in danger or in any written law in the opinion of a medical profession. So it says that for me, I cannot be able to approve such a document because for me, the abortion, which means willful termination of life, when as a Christian, who is a pro-lifer, who believes in life, it does not matter how good these others, if on a principle issue,
on a matter of principle.
Yes. So I am giving that example because Gigi, the BBI report, when you read the entire of it, it does not raise major moral or dogmatic issues that I would advise anyone who is, for example, I told some church leaders that it is not a document that you can be able to take a very strong, firm, principle position.
Yes.
It is mainly a document that has a lot of preferential issues. Now, why am I saying this? Is that so that when we are doing the analysis, we look at it from the prism of preferential issues.
Yes.
Because the proposals that the church provided to the BBI task force, particularly on their 2010 issues, were all ignored.
So meaning
they did not want to get into a situation whereby moral issues are part of the conversation. So
I guess it's like making the tablet, sweetening the medicine, so that it's easier to swallow.
So for me, one of the things that I would be able to say that let us look at BBI from a preferential point of view, so that when we are rejecting, it is not that you're rejecting it from a premise of principle, but you are or accepting it, you are pushing it from a framework of preference.
Yes.
Now, having said that, is that the provisions, for example, on devolution, in terms of increasing the amount of money allocated to devolution from the current floor of 15% to 35%,
yes,
for me, is a good proposal.
Yeah. So that's among the many wonderful, provisions.
The proposal on the expanding the executive and facilitating the opposition, for me, it is a good proposal.
Yes.
The proposal for me on a national framework, yes, particularly on ethics to do with patriotism, values, for me, he's a good proposal.
That's good.
The proposal on how do we ensure that we accelerate, for example, issues like regional integration, we build this economy and we broaden. For me, are very fantastic proposals.
Yes.
However, we also have bad proposals from BBI.
Yes.
And I would say the number one proposal that needs to be rethought is the proposal on establishing the National Police Council, whereby we are disbanding the current National Police Service and establishing a National Police Council that will be chaired by the current by the cabinet secretary or the minister responsible for internal security.
Yes.
Now, when we have looked at the past, the way the police have been abused, remember we are recommending that the ministers or the minister will be coming from the National Assembly. So most likely the person who will be heading the Ministry for Interior will be somebody who is a politician. So that for me provides an opportunity.
Actually, while you're on that, while you're on that point, I think it's good for our viewers to know that security issues are critical. For the proper function of a society. And so when we actually make security, or rather we a very critical part of the public policing, because really police service is really to serve people at the ground
and to protect.
If somebody bangs your window at night, in the middle of the night, you want to be sure that if you called up the local police station, that these guys can respond. And so you don't want that in the hands of some bureaucrat. And though I have a lot of respect for bureaucratic systems, because they make things function anyway, but there's a challenge, there's a limit, because once you bring in the police force under the hands of a politically beholden bureaucrat, you're actually going to weaken the system.
And that's why, Pastor Gigi, and for me, remember when we were doing the constitution in the past, the things we said, we were trying to cure the mischief where police have been misused to achieve political ends. So for me, that is one thing. Number two is the proposal to overhaul IEBC. I believe strongly. Remember, I told you that I had even applied and put my name forward to be a possible commissioner.
Exactly.
And be able to say, ladies and gentlemen, that this is an arbitrator of facilitating the will of the people to be able to be manifested through an election. So you want a referee. After the nullification of the presidential election in 2017, you remember one thing that happened is that people felt, I can actually go to the judiciary, and if I make my case clearly, they are able to, I will be heard. The question is, now there is a recommendation that we want to have 4 commissioners being recommended by political parties. Not even all the parties, only parties that are in parliament. Remember, we have many political parties. So when you say that only certain parties are the ones to recommend commissioners, 4 of them out of the 7, what happens if the 2 of them disagree? Because I can tell you for a fact, currently, the political formation, Jubilee and the NASA formation, highly likely, if you to make those 2 recommendations, you will have 2 people who are from one side of Jubilee who are Uhuru compliant. And then on the other side, you will have 2 people who are Raila compliant. Now, the truth of the matter is that what happens in the event there is a gridlock, like in 2007?
Actually, by the way, it really creates a very frightening scenario, because I think the current peace we have right now is premised on the idea that the IEBC was able to carry out some form of an election.
They did a good election.
Which, as far as Mwananchi is concerned, I think it is okay.
I told you.
Because you see, the minute you cast doubt in the validity of an election, I think you really put the...
we are recording this show at the time where the US has gone to an election.
Exactly.
Me and you, I can tell you, based from where I sit, I agree with Donald Trump on one thing.
Yes.
In terms of the orthodoxy, in terms of the agenda of the Republican Party, the conservative agenda. On that, I'm on his side.
Yeah.
I have a challenge in terms of the policies of the Democratic Party.
Yes.
But when you look at these two candidates, in the way they have expressed themselves after the elections, one thing, I'm not with Donald Trump because he has cast aspersions on actually the credibility and the integrity of the elections. So what has happened? The country that has been pushing and talking to us and dictating us about democracy, today they have fallen under their own sword. So what one of the things I want to say is that let us be careful.
There are very serious lessons to be learned.
Yes,
I think from what is going on, what has gone on in the U.S. elections, that elections can become a platform, can be a theater of discord and defranchising a nation, even though we really want a democratic system that works. So we have to be, what you're saying is that we have to be very careful. I want you to expound a little bit on the IBC and the mechanisms.
I said, so I talked about the 4 commissioners.
Yes.
Then we are talking about vetting the entire staff of IBC, giving them a contract of 3 years, renewable ones. Tell me something. You are conducting an election as a staff.
Yeah.
You are a presiding officer in a station. You have 1 year to go.
By the way, actually, each county has
the county returning officer.
Yes.
And then you have the constituency coordinator. The question is, why this is somebody who is susceptible. He only has a few months.
Yes.
In terms of manipulation, if politicians manipulate such people in terms of when they don't have security of contract and security of tenure. So for me, one of the things that I would say that, and I have even pointed out, is that this one is an idea that has to be rejected, because we have only, in fact, even for me, I don't know why the BBI, they singled out only IBC.
Yes.
Tell me the truth of the Chapter 15 commissioners.
Yes.
There is the Gender Commission, the Human Rights Commission, Parliamentary Service Commission. The other commission they only talked about is the SRC, the Salaries and Remuneration Commission, and their only recommendation, reduce their commissioners from the current 12 put to 7, which is a good proposal. But the IBC has a far-reaching recommendation, telling you very well that, you remember our analysis of policy, process, power, and politics?
Yes.
That the political interest is really in the electoral process, and no one should lie to us that BBI has no bearing for 2022. Because if you want to test their integrity, can we operationalize these proposals in 2027? What is going to happen? The heat that is on IBC is likely to go down.
Exactly.
So for me, the other recommendation that I would also want to say that needs to be rethought is the proposals to move the 37 women representatives from the National Assembly to the Senate. So where you have, we will have 1 man, 1 woman in the Senate.
Yes.
Now, yet the Senate, in terms of their legislative mandate on critical issues, has a limited mandate. The other challenge is, at the moment, we have proposed that members of the cabinet, that is the cabinet secretaries, will be coming from the National Assembly. So in terms of women's participation, even in the cabinet, you've moved them from the National Assembly all the way to the Senate, and you've made National Assembly to be the place where cabinet secretaries will be coming from. There will be a challenge in terms of level of participation.
Yes.
The other limitation,
the same problem you're trying to solve, because I think this gender, the gender equality, debate, is an endless debate. And so we are saying, while the intentions are good, but here you're moving the women, the 47 women in Parliament, moving them to the Senate. And then, and Parliament itself is populated through popular vote.
Yes.
So either the women win the seats and get to parliament,
you see, the
or you nominate
47 women rep was giving us a framework and a formula on how we will achieve the 2/3.
Exactly.
Currently, there is no framework under BBI apart from the 70 seats that will be for nominations to the National Assembly. There is no framework that tells us how we will still achieve the 2/3 and for the National Assembly. So we are curing it by we cure it in the Senate, but we are not very clear about how we will cure it in the National Assembly.
I guess maybe through the 47, the 70.
You see, you know what happens?
Nominations.
You need to be explicit because we have an advisory from the CJ telling the president to dissolve Parliament because Parliament is not fully constituted and it has not met the 2/3 gender principle.
Exactly.
So how can you therefore through a document like BBI not be very clear on how you will achieve the 2/3 when it comes to the National Assembly? Because they've also gone further to also make to change that. Because currently, I think Article 175 of the Constitution provides a clear framework on how to meet the 2/3 gender principle when it comes to the county assemblies. That has also been removed. So for me, I would want to say this: we still are able. If BBI passes as it is, there will be oxygen the following day. We will still be able to breathe. But you know, I said when we are giving a conversation on preferential issues, let them be well thought out. Let them take us from one side of the Jordan to cross us to the Canaan, rather than taking us to the mid of Jordan and saying the bridge we need to remain standing here. We have to send other people to get us more planks so that we can cross to the other side. What I'm trying to say is that may the journey towards BBI be completely help us to really build bridges that will get us to Canaan, rather than getting us to the mid-east of the river, and we have to wait because we do not know when the rain.
We build half of the bridge.
Are you seeing?
You know, we build half of the bridge. We have a referendum that builds half of the bridge. The other half of the river, we say we'll see how to.
There is a bridge in, and I think I'll send you that picture. There is a bridge. It's called the Bridge to Nowhere. There is a bridge in South America. It was, I think, it was done and funded by the World Bank. And the bridge today is a monument
because the river shifted.
The river shifted now. So it
you know, viewers, as you can tell, the GG report, Vincent is really on fire here, and you know, talking about bridges and rivers shifting. And we know there have been talks in the past in our political you know, conversations where somebody wanted a river to move because the property he had built, which was actually which as far as the environmentalists were concerned, it was actually outside the provisions. It was in a riparian sort of land, and the guy suggested that the river needed to move, not the building. So that's what. So building bridges could be a very difficult task if the river actually moves after the bridge has been done. So we are seeing, we are really like saying that it is not a very easy walk.
And that is why you see the reason why I congratulate you for such kind of platforms is that we are able to break down to many constituents. You know, the other thing I also want to say about BBI is that the level of awareness about the proposals in BBI is very low. I was asking people
civic education. Civic education, I know we keep talking about it, and I think I talked to someone who said the other day that it is one thing for people to gather in bombers and speak to the nation through cameras, but it's another thing, or even make their voice heard within that platform. It's very, very difficult actually to get Mwananchi on the ground to understand what's going on.
I recently came from a place called Kimorere in Kerio Valley. And I'd gone there to gather some data. The data I wanted was data for on the issue of extractives industry. And I want to tell you that when you hear this term, vitu kwa ground ni tofauti.
Yes.
That is the truth. Vitu kwa ground inakwanga tofauti. I'll say this, Pastor Gigi.
Yeah.
You know, currently there is another narrative that we have in the country, and
Yes.
I want to compare it to the 2007.
Yeah.
The 2007 was the 2005, the we versus them.
Yes.
42 against 1. 42 tribes against the Kikuyu community. 2007, 2005.
Yeah.
Currently, there is a new narrative in town.
Yeah.
The narrative is the hustler versus the dynasties.
Yes.
And from the way you look like, you, Gigi, you belong to the dynasties.
No. That's a debate we'll have in our next round
allow me to say this.
Yes.
And I'm happy. I just want to say
Yes.
that when you already have the elements
Mm-hmm.
that precipitated the crisis we had in 2007,
Yes.
look at we have a referendum we are discussing.
Yes.
We had a referendum in 2005.
Yes.
The we versus them at that time was at the tribal level.
Yes.
The we versus them currently
Yes.
is the hustler versus.
It's a class.
Are you getting the point?
It's a class issue.
When you already have the ingredients
Yes.
that may precipitate a crisis.
Yes.
You remember that those who do not look back are hell-bent to do what? To repeat their mistakes. I have to say this because I don't know when we will meet next.
Yes.
When the point is that you are not weaker, Pastor Gigi,
Yeah.
by listening to a better alternative or a better idea from somebody else.
Yes.
If today I come here and
Yeah.
I tell you, Pastor Gigi, you've been doing a fantastic job
Yes.
through the Gigi report.
Mm-hmm.
But actually, I think if we change one or two things that can make this program to be aired internationally.
Yes.
You know, do you still have the Gigi report? Yes. Are you still the host? Yes. The point is, what's the difference? I have bettered the situation. For me,
yeah,
this is my recommendation, that we need to educate our people. We need to consult further
Yes.
to be able to arrive at better ideas. Because principally, currently, even when you listen to what the pastoralists are saying, what the church groups are saying,
Yeah.
you realize all of them are saying, hey guys.
Actually, by the way,
Yes.
that's what I want you to comment on.
Yeah.
So because this BBI has been
Yeah.
a shifting issue. So there are a couple of very critical, you'd call stakeholders,
Yes.
that have already spoken into the BBI.
Yes.
And we had input from the pastoralists, the church has spoken, and
We also have women groups that have
the
spoken.
women groups.
Youth
So
groups,
just
yes.
highlight for us, what are they saying?
The church groups, if you summarize the report of the Catholics and CCK and the evangelicals and the Pentecostals,
The Kenya Christian Council
the Kenya
of
Council,
Christian.
Kenya Council of Christian Alliances and Ministries,
Yes.
what they are saying is that, hey, the way this thing is being rushed,
Yes.
what is the hurry if we are building bridges?
Yes.
We are that this process is moving very fast, and we have built other bridges, but in the process destroyed others.
Yes.
And yet if we are to live by the spirit of building bridges initiative,
Yes.
let us build consensus on the issues. The church is also saying, let us isolate the issues.
Yes.
Those that are constitutional, those are the policy, those are legislative
Yes.
and administrative. Let us separate them and face them in different frontiers and apportion different responsibilities to different people. The other thing the pastoralists are saying is that, hey, how comes we have a commission for youth, we have authorities on crops. There is nothing about the issue of pastoralists of the livestock marketing and promotion authority. They're also talking about that extending the equalization fund. You remember the equalization fund that was meant to be implemented for 20 years
Yes.
to bring the northern part of our country
Yeah.
and the northern frontier
Yeah.
to the same level of development as the other parts. They're saying extend that. They're also talking about that we are concerned about the formation of the Health Services Commission that the doctors talked about that, and people in the medical fraternity said. Experience of the last 10 years is that the management of the human resource function in the health sector
Yeah.
has not been to par. So
Yeah.
what we want to do is that can we centralize the way we have Teacher Service Commission, the way we have Judicial Service Commission,
Yes.
by having Health Services Commission?
Yes.
Now, the people in the pastoralist communities and the northern frontier
Yeah.
are saying, that we are concerned that this for us is a clawback on devolution.
Yes.
Now, the governors, that is headed by Oparanya, they've also made their recommendations. They are concerned about the requirement that if you want to run for governor, your running mate should be of the opposite gender. So they are saying, how comes you're requiring us to appoint of the opposite gender, but the president, remember these 5 positions and the 7th position up here, you're not requiring. If you, the summary of all these concerns boils to one thing. The need for longer session for consultation. There is an agreement that any opportunity to improve on the document, please let us improve. And then they are also pointing out, please let us leave no one behind.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because, and I know we are running out of time. I think what you're saying is that clearly, if we want to avoid the mistakes we've made in the past, that we must take BBI, the initiative itself, very, very seriously. And one of the things I want you to summarize as we bring this to an end is the scenarios that you see unfolding. I know we may not have enough time to dig into the matters, but you mentioned to me off the set about scenarios. That scenarios as you see.
It's called narrative framing.
Narrative framing. Just mention them in brief. Then maybe.
So if we move together, if we get what we are talking about, even mentioned by Bishop Oginde during the launch of the second report, was that we can have a Jerusalem scenario. Jerusalem scenario or a narrative where really consensus is achieved, we move together,
we dance together,
and we build all the bridges together, and we celebrate and we emerge as a united team together. That is the Jerusalem. The other narrative or the scenario is the issue of Uhasama. Uhasama brought by like the 2017, where truly you move this thing, but after the referendum, we have like the election of 2017. You have gone to an election, but the country is not settled. There is a lot of animosity.
Creates a lot of political, toxic political environment.
The other case is the 2017 case. 2007 case is where you have an entire utengano, where you go into this referendum and you have this win, you have this side feeling we have lost. And you know that siege mentality, like currently the constituency represented by the deputy president, if that constituency feels maligned and disenfranchised, what happens? They will sharpen their weapons to be ready for war come 2022. And that might actually divide the country further. So to the president, do you want Jerusalem or Uyano? Then you have the Uhasama, you have the Utengano, and then you have the Tetezi in terms of they are known. Currently, we have a COVID-19 scenario. You know, this thing might escalate to a place where no one has control over it. So with those kind of examples, why are we shaping them? Is to actually lift the conversation to the next level so that people realize that it is not about my side winning and your side losing. It is how does Kenya win?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Vincent. I believe that you've really laid out the territory clearly, and we've been able to expound on this conversation. The BBI presents an opportunity for Kenyans of goodwill to re-examine our political, scenario. And like the government, I think I like what one prophetic person said, that the Kenyan dress is multicolored and it's got so many patches here and there, and it's time for us to renew this government, and create a better environment. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for staying on this program and listening to this today's show. I believe that we've been able to unpack the BBI, and we look forward to being able to come to you again and bring in all other issues. And thank you so much, Vincent, for being on this program. Ladies and gentlemen, we also want to acknowledge our hosts, After 40 Hotel, located in the CBD of Nairobi, very conveniently located right in the city of Nairobi, and wonderful place, very good atmosphere. And this is a place that you can enjoy calm and quiet environment and hostel facilities. And so we're very, very grateful for them giving us opportunity to host this show here. And so thank you very much. And we look forward to seeing you next time. God bless.